start.
Yo, what's going on, people? This is No Labels Podcast. I am your host, Willie G. We got Miss Audrey in the building.
Hey, y'all.
We got the Queen in the building.
What's up, yo?
Hey, Keith.
So, first off, how you doing?
I am doing very well. My voice sounds really tired, but it's probably because I haven't spoken much all day because I finally had a day off to kind of lay around. It's been busy. Still enjoying and continuing the first issue of Royal Ink the magazine while also planning for the next one. I'm still working retail in this fourth quarter, and November is in like 10 minutes. And so we're already starting to feel... It's interesting because we got a crowd rush because of Halloween, but it's one of those interesting times in retail because it's not busy yet as far as the people, but they're loading all of the product in. And so, like, the pressure from the company of, like, oh, my God, it's going to be huge. It's going to be, it's just like, it's going to be what it's going to be.
So how long
that weekend, just because people are out and about. Anytime there's, like, a big, like, global reason to be out or, like, you know, a big thing. So you're going to see more people out for those things. It's different parties. You know, people want to buy something new, costume, accessories.
I be feeling bad for y'all on Christmas.
It's not.
I know last Christmas I was working for Amazon, so... No,
I've been in retail for 26 years, and I can tell you without even working for Amazon ever that I'm sure it's harder for Amazon for now than it was, because when I started in retail, I remember when Black Friday and holiday season was lit in a way that I just really don't think the retail industry is ever going to see again in brick and mortar. The world is digital. I still love an in-person shopping experience, and so many people do, but I don't think that it will be as big and frenzied as it has been in past years. I really don't think we'll ever see those days again because, again, I started in retail before the social media era, before online shopping was a thing. And so when you have those options, you know, it's going to get busy. You're going to see a peak. You know, there is such thing as peak season. But as far as, I think retail as an industry is a little bit of denial about how to compare to, like, we deal in, like, last year numbers or LY or things like that. I'm like, you can't, with it. Online has changed the game, and it's not going away. I just don't think the internet is going anywhere, at least for a while. And then also, you still got to consider the pandemic effect, because as far as retailers, we're still in it in a lot of ways. You know, a lot of businesses
the world's still in it. Like,
yeah,
we ain't going nowhere.
We're still in it, you know. But as far as the way they make decisions, like, well, we're gonna be last year. Like, you know, you don't know, because the last 2 years have been so unpredictable, and so it's some of that mental corporate reasoning stress that's starting to trickle in. But if you leave me with product and people, I'm good.
Craziest thing I've seen from Amazon during peak season is somebody quit during the shift and left their truck at the gas station.
Oh, my.
And they was like, yo, come get your truck. I'm like, because we had like a group chat, and they was like, yo, come get your truck. I don't know how they worked it out, but yeah. Okay, so that's good. Keandra, how you doing? You good? You good in it? Okay. So I was going to name this episode.
Oh, we got to say, hey, the Apostle said, hey, y'all, we got to listen.
How you doing,
Apostle Kenneth K. Law.
Apostle Kenneth K. Law.
Author of the book, is it Pain, Pressure, Purpose? I don't want to get it out of order.
Pain, Pressure, Purpose. You can go get that from all stores. That's my spiritual father.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in. How you doing?
That's my spiritual uncle.
Yeah, so let's...
no, but shout out to Apostle Law and this amazing book that he's put out. So many valuable things to say. He's a voice definitely worth tapping into.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we're gonna jump right into this, because we got places to go. We got things
to do.
I was gonna name this World Gone Crazy, but I decided
which would be fitting.
I decided to name it WWJD.
It's a throwback. That's a 90s throwback.
If you know what that means, you gotta look. You know what I'm saying? You're getting older. You know what I'm saying? Side note, I still believe that, like, our generation was like one of the best generations to grow up in. You know what I'm saying? Why I say this, and I know, like, why I say it, because, like, we, like, right in the middle of the internet. and we
Yes.
we didn't have the internet, and we got to see what the internet is.
Yeah, we had the analog childhood and the digital adulthood.
That's just a side note.
We're a bridge generation, and I personally think that that's a big responsibility considering the things that people just don't know. I do understand certain things, like when our parents were children, they tell us certain things they went through. I feel like while it was different and certain things became obsolete, I feel like it wasn't the pace of certain things. You know, if you get some people in middle school who don't even really know what a typewriter is, but to look at it, or a rotary phone. I saw that TikTok. The girl, she did have a good, I forgot what the acronym was, but she had a good one on the spot to not know what AOL was, but.
I ain't gonna lie, man. You know, I'm gonna be real.
Listen.
I feel away. I feel away when.
But we are the last, and that's why I tell people I'm still an analog girl in the digital world.
Our song was on the oldie station. Like I felt crazy riding down the road.
Which song? Which one? All of them?
All the songs.
Because it used to be. Is it still like this?
All our songs is on the oldie
I don't listen to radio nearly as much as I used to, but I still have always loved radio and its purpose. But it used to be, and I remember the rise of this. Do you remember where it was like, okay, you got your top 40 in whatever genre, you got your mainstream radio, and then you had your oldie station, and then we came in and introduced something called a throwback. And then throwback got its own. I feel like throwbacks are to us what oldies are to our parents. But oldies are still oldies to us. But don't put my throwbacks on the oldie station.
We got on the oldie station. They skipped the throwback section. We on the oldie list.
We got a thing. Our oldies are called throwbacks.
No, me and Keanu was driving through the road. We was driving. I don't listen to the radio neither. But that night we listened to the radio, and every song this is our generation. Yes. What you mean? This is us. I'm like, yeah. That was
crazy.
That was a little weird. But anyways,
we not oldies.
Quick topics.
All right, let's keep it rolling.
Some icebreakers. I was gonna name a World Gone Crazy. One, of course, Kanye. I'm not gonna spend too much on Kanye because
we don't have the time or
I'm pretty
energy.
much a spectator at this point. The one thing I am gonna say about the whole Kanye situation, not even Kanye, the whole Kanye situation is I have the only thing that bothers me about the Kanye situation is that I have never no one has ever acted in this way, you know what I'm saying, concerning African American, it's anti-Semitism. And basically what a lot of people, one of the biggest conversations that this situation has brought up is that, okay, the rap industry itself is anti-black, you know what I'm saying, as far as what it...
In what way?
A lot of what it says, you know what I'm saying. Now don't get me wrong, I'm a hip hop fanatic, but what it basically the message being allowed, the message that's making these labels money is pretty much it's like crack was to the 80s babies or whatever. It's the message that hip hop is sending now is and not all hip hop.
No,
but the ones that the hip hop, what we call mainstream, what is allowed to be on the radio. The ones that the labels have, the ones that the labels are pushing, basically, because the biggest artists are the ones that the labels push.
Right.
And that's the biggest conversation that's being brought up.
So, and I do think it's a valid conversation because if you really, really love the genre of hip hop and you see how layered it is and how many types of hip hop exist, you all right? When you see how many types of hip hop exist within a space. So you got people that's gonna you're not gonna find many people who don't know who Drake is, but do you have people who don't know who Talib Kweli is?
A lot of people don't.
You know what I'm saying? Do you have some people who know Mos Def only as an actor, but they never heard Mos Def spit bars?
They don't.
You know what I'm saying?
Right now.
And then you got some people that only know Ice Cube and Ice-T as actors in these shows. And you know what I'm saying? So, but to your point, I think that when I'm gonna leave his name out of that because he got enough attention on him. But when you consider, to your point, who runs the the labels, and it's not usually people of color. It's usually people of wealth and affluence and decision-making power and control, and also have ties to what gets pushed through in mainstream culture and media. Now, it's an issue that is layered and it hits different industries. Because, like, okay, now you got this conversation about hip-hop and music, and then the conversation is like, well, what gets pushed through? Now, if you got the people who own it, who have their interests aligned with a certain narrative around a certain group of people, and you have those people that have lyrics or themes that could push a narrative that benefits you financially or politically, then you will continue to push those things through
because it makes
and
money.
then suppress the more of the positive messaging that absolutely exists in hip hop and is prevalent. And even it's so layered, and then if you keep pulling back the layers, it becomes so political. And so I just think it's gonna take more than the time we had to get into it. But what's the root question I'm answering? Because I just said a whole lot.
I mean, basically, like okay, one of the biggest conversations that's being brought up is the anti-Semitism, but a lot of people arguing that the music that a lot of labels, and we all know as music lovers that ain't the case, but truthfully, like, okay, take it like this, and I'm not one of the people who says hip hop should stay the same. It's gonna change. Different artists do it different. What we're saying is, when it's like, if you live that and that's your life, cool. You know what I'm saying? Tell that. You know what I'm saying? Just tell both sides. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a lot of people not getting that. A lot of what we getting is like, okay, 22, 21-year-old people who is actually living that at this moment. Like, they haven't even reached the side to tell you, like, don't do it yet. They actually, and I get it. You an adult. You can say and write what you want. You know what I'm saying? Coming from the labels aspect. And it's going to make money. I think a big problem is that it does make money. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, you got somebody that's broke. Ain't got nothing, ain't got nowhere to, okay, this how I'm going to come up. And, like, we all know the code. Like, literally, one of the ways these young boys coming up right now is off murder or people thinking they murder.
Right. Or
you know
this type of content, this narrative.
So it's like,
if I make content that aligns with the narrative that the people with money and influence are willing to push through,
and I'm going to get paid.
That affects my bottom line and my pockets. So
who could be mad at the kid that's on the corner, like, yo, this is my come up. And that's the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like change the way that, okay, change what's being like paid. Like, make it so that, but again, we got a part in that, the consumers, because, like, you know what I'm saying?
We do.
It is layered. It's layered.
It's extremely layered.
It's layered.
And then if you want to add in the layer of hip hop lyrics being used in court in litigation,
and then that's a whole different.
That's a whole different layer that is part of the hip hop influence conversation. But here's the thing, and I'll go and say, like, I'll say the name. But here's the thing with Kanye and his unique influence. Obviously, he knows how to stop the world when he talks. And he obviously stopped a lot of money, but okay, at the peak of his net worth, which just plummeted just days ago, but he's still wealthy. But, you know, that's not the point. The point is, you have all of this influence, you have all of this creativity, you've got power, you've worked with the best in the hip hop and recording arts, and you had all of these brand deals. When you choose to be pro-black, because I think you just kind of choose to go with, I don't know, whatever string you're trying to pull at a time. But I'll put it like this. He was a person who had the means to really change some of what we just talked about, of what gets pushed through, of like, there's more to hip-hop than this. There's more to hip-hop than murder. There's more to hip-hop than criminal activity, malicious intent, disrespect to women. There's so much more. But as long as people who identify most with the content aren't controlling the output, then we gonna fuss and we gonna get ourselves frenzied, but we still don't really have a influence. Power to change, but you got somebody in a position of power to change that. Why are you wasting your time with foolishness? Okay. Okay. You know, but I can't tell people what to do with their. You can't tell people what to do with their influence. You can't tell people what to do with their money. You know. Now, also, I am putting this, idea out to a person who is obviously not mentally stable.
Do you think?
And so,
I'm not even gonna lie. Here to me, I really don't think he's that crazy.
It's not even about crazy. And I'm not saying that's why I was very careful with the word. I didn't say illness. I don't know. He's spoken of his diagnoses and things like that. And I really actually enjoyed his conversation about it when he did my next guest needs no introduction with David Letterman. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is a great conversation about mental illness from the perspective of the person who walks around with it. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was a beautiful moment. His wife, ex-wife now, but she was there in support of him and all the things he was saying. And I was like, okay, but if you surround yourself around people who can continue to help, but the mental illness is a thing, but I'm talking about stability. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about mental stability. Unless you agree with the idea, and some people do, and I'm not saying that it is or not, because I don't know. But if you think that all of the rhetoric he's put out and everything is all completely intentional and calculated, and they aren't some things that he's just flying off about, if it's all calculated, and that's a whole different conversation. I'm like, I think you're just maybe a malicious person or just attention, like that's your drug of choice. But I do think there is some instability, even if you just line up the timeline of his whole career. But even if you line up the timeline from the whole the beef and everything with him and Kim, bringing in the kids with the Pete Davidson stuff, that was different from all this anti-medic brand dropping stuff now. But even if you watch that timeline, there's so many contradictory statements from him, mm-hmm. But there's obviously some signs that there's some real help needed.
I told you right now I'm just I can't even say. But I am gonna say this. Then I'm gonna go. But I am gonna say this. As a man, because a lot of people just delusional, like you said. As a man, you gotta look at, okay, you can't not acknowledge the irresponsibility of a lot of, because it ain't some people think it's all a part of the plan. Okay, this is a couple of the big points is going out. Some people think he doing this purposely to get out his contracts. Okay, but like you said, it's been things before this, and a lot of the reasons people don't trust Kanye is because of previous actions the MAGA had, the slavery,
it's all of that, the slavery choice, the Harriet Tubman things, the MAGA hat, and the strategic
White Lives Matter,
all of that, but the timing of when he released music around
that was
riling up the people around saying something crazy.
But I mean, like I said, I'm just leaving Kanye guys, but that's definitely.
But it's so much. But I really do just.
I think Kanye going through what should be a private situation publicly. Mm-hmm. I think it is some mental whatever, and something there. You know what I'm saying? You can't. I don't take everything you say.
I really watched the last interview that he did when he was talking. That now I know it feels like to have a knee on my neck. Did you watch that recent one?
Yeah, I've been kind of watching what's going on.
I watched that, and I try not to watch a lot of them except for the clips that maybe media outlets inserted. But I watched that video, and I was just really not trying not to get caught up in specifically the words he's saying, because I can, I'm a wordsmith, so I can dissect that in all different ways. But I was just really listening to the tone and looking at his face. He came across to me like just a child. Like, what part of you has not grown up? What trauma exists that happened at a certain age that you haven't healed from? In whatever area that is, you're still that age, and it's so young and immature. And it feels like, it's almost like looking at like an 8-year-old that has the weight, the responsibility, and the fame of the adult man that he actually is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But imagine all of that dumped onto like an 8-year-old or something like that. To me,
Yeah.
in my viewing, and it just made me look on with pity. It's just like, first of all, come here, somebody need to hug you for real.
Somebody had said that. Said who was loving him.
Right.
Who was like,
and now
in his corner.
And now once you get to a certain space, it's harder to tell the authenticity of people when you have a certain amount of money and influence and fame.
Yeah, $1 billion make anybody friend.
Yeah, so I just really like somebody that loves him, let him know and hug him.
Then you just did a video about that on TikTok. When everything going wrong, who's staying there with you? Like when Jesus went through it, Jesus had 12 disciples and everybody was going when he was on the cross.
But a few.
So where is it?
But a few. Yeah, I mean, at times like that, and I know at times like that, it's like that's when it hurts. Because sometimes people don't naturally talk about you; they just back away from you, and not willing to stay in the storm. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
And that don't like you need people that's gonna be accountable. Like if you're wrong, you need people that's gonna be able to tell you that you're wrong. But you also need people that's gonna stay like hey. Ride or die, like kind of like if your partner get you into a fight, like me and my brother, like he might get me into something, and I won't ask no questions then. And then at the house, it'll be like, you know what I'm saying?
Bro,
it's like, bro,
I get it, but then for those people who may show up for a person, like not just Kanye, but anybody like that, but when the person continues to do the destructive behavior that you're having to help them through, it's like at what point are you gonna participate in your own healing and supporting your own self?
No, you gotta it gotta be change behavior. Like that's I mean, 'cause ain't nobody gonna waste their time. Like even with my own family, like we'll come to you like the first couple times, but if you keep coming back, like okay, like he trying to fight me. We on the way. The third time we like, fam, why you even there?
Right. It's
like, why you even there? Like we can't keep doing this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I get that. I get that. Like that's what accountability. Like you got like accountability. Okay, I'm gonna hold you accountable, and then we gonna then you gonna put forth the effort. You know what I'm saying? And but I got you as long as you trying. You like as long as it's not just a rotating thing. But like I said, we can go eons.
We can.
In talking about that.
Not.
What?
But
what else we got?
Nah, we got 30. We got 30 minutes today, but we're gonna go into.
It's my fault if we feel rushed today. I got stuff.
No, we not. I was a good time. 45 minutes. It's a good episode.
How long have I been
saying
that? We ain't gonna say nothing.
Wakanda Forever is about to drop. November 11th. I hope it. I mean, I believe it's gonna be good, but they can't.
Rihanna singing on there.
They can't let down on Wakanda.
Why people hating on Rihanna for this single she released?
I ain't even hear Rihanna single.
I haven't heard it yet, but I really enjoy watching the people respond before I partake of different things, and then be like, okay.
Anyway,
but apparently people aren't feeling the single. But at the time when I saw people's response, I didn't know that it was part of the Black Panther soundtrack.
Yeah, they say she on the soundtrack.
Speaking of soundtracks,
that first
seen Intergalactic?
No. Is that a movie?
Yes.
Intergalactic?
You got the assignment for you. You gonna watch it the next time
It's on Netflix?
Yes, it is.
Ooh.
Is it
the Kid Cudi album Intergalactic, which is also a movie Intergalactic that intertwines. And especially if you grew up like us, those analog babies that really grew up in the era of soundtracks.
Yeah.
Before there was streaming, Kid Cudi could bring back soundtracks in a real way. You know, we got a little bit with, I absolutely no disrespect and actually honoring. Kudos to kudos to Kendrick Lamar and what he did with the original Black Panther soundtrack, and also like just kudos to Pharrell and those getting into those filmmaking spaces with the production of music. But as far as soundtrack to like. Cause I had heard the album and then I saw the movie. I was like, "Give me that album back," cause I need to.
I never been a big Kid Cudi fan, but I'm gonna check it out.
I like Kid Cudi, but I can't say I was a Kid Cudi fan, but I am a fan of this piece of work. That's like
JB. That's one of JB's favorite artists, I think. Him and Tyler, the Creator. Well, let me see. WWJD.
So why you pick that?
Why did I do WWJD, for those who don't know, for the youngins, What would Jesus do?
It used to be like a little armband. Everybody had the little bracelets that said WWJD. What would Jesus do?
What would Jesus do? And what in this situation, like what would Jesus do in the face of his naysayers, of people that not even naysayers, but also people who misunderstood him? Like, what would Jesus do? And well, of course we all know, you know what I'm saying, because as he's on the cross, you know what I'm saying, like he's mocking, like you got people saying, and how I picture this like a group of black folks. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't picture this like come down from the cross. I picture this with like a group of people like, come on down from the cross, Jesus. Come on, you say you God. They mocking him. You know what I'm saying?
Why you make him sound like a slave?
I don't know. I'm country, so if I sound like a slave,
I'm
that's
country too, but I'm
a Georgia boy. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a Georgia girl. That's
how we talk. I mean, that's how
kind of how we talk.
I might need to everybody like come
Here's
on down.
What is fundamentally wrong with the WWJD?
Good.
The whole "what would Jesus do" as a question, when we could very easily just study what he actually did. We don't have to wonder. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when you pull it down into that speculatory place, then it's hard to override the temptation to insert your own logic and reasoning when you could just go in and see what Jesus did. You got the accounts from the apostles, that you got we have it recorded.
Yeah.
And
Jesus,
so
Jesus did a lot of stuff now.
he did. And so to be like, well, what would Jesus do? It's just like, now I do understand the whole thing of like putting it into today's time, but every situation still has a humanity component that is timeless. And go study what he did and act accordingly.
And that's why that's what I mean. That's why I say I said like a week ago. What I mean was like, what would Jesus do is and what that's like clickbait. But I said the other day in the video, like basically he understands from a human standpoint, because like I said, a 33-year-old man, and a 33-year-old man bore the weight of the world on his shoulders. And at that time, at his most pivotal time, his closest circle turned against him. Not necessarily. They got scared. They didn't stand with him. Like all his closest people ran. So in that situation, you know what I'm saying, as a man, not as Almighty God, like in that situation, Jesus chose to continue with his purpose, continue doing what God put him here to do. And in that sense, like he gives you guidance, and like what would, like, even in your everyday life, even in somebody pursuing their own purpose, like if you would actually, if you in a place where you tired, or you don't know how to go, or if you want to go, you know what I'm saying? To ask that, what would Jesus do? You know what I'm saying? Like he's the blueprint. Like, so he gives us blueprints in all kinds of situations. Okay, what would you do when you're portrayed? Hey, Jesus got an example for that. You know what I'm saying? Like what would you do? What would you do when when you're called to help? Because truthfully, our faith ain't challenged. Like one of the most hardest tests is the test of love. When you have to love people, or basically your character is tested. You know what I'm saying? But especially in misunderstandings, like when miscommunications.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's like can you see life from their perspective? You know what I'm saying? And not be so quick to see everything from your own. Can you put yourself in their shoes as well? You know what I'm saying?
How many times we gotta wear these shoes though?
Vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Because the reason I said it, because a lot of people get caught up with the hater conversation and the opposition talk, and you know, like, people hating, the people don't support, and it's like, okay, so, and then for people of faith, it's like you have a Savior that understands everything. You know what I'm saying? You got a God that actually understands that from a human standpoint.
Yeah.
And Jesus wasn't 40 years; he was 33. I'm 32. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. Like, what would Jesus do? Like in the face of opposition? Because it's people out here that's that's trying to build something, who believe they have a call, and they're coming up against opposition. They're coming up against people that may not see their vision. Okay, what would Jesus do? That's the clickbait, WWJD. But I'm coming from that conversation, and I'm really asking even you, like, how do you act? How do you handle that? You know what I'm saying? Because no one who steps out to do anything doesn't go against that. Doesn't go against being misunderstood.
Yeah.
Doesn't go against naysayers. You know what I'm saying? It may not be straightforward, but you know it. Like, how do you handle that and still, you know what I'm saying, still keep a good conscience toward people and not getting bitter?
Not get bitter. I thought I had an answer to you. Said not get bitter. No, I do.
That's the hard part.
It, not to be in like how to live in unforgiveness and to I think for me it's an ever deepening sense of this is my purpose. This is what God has created me to do. For as long as I exist in the earth, even when I would have like maybe a friendship end or a relationship end or a job workout, it was the resolve of, well, this job wasn't my purpose. This relationship was not my purpose. It may be a situation. It may have even been an assignment, but nothing externally is powerful enough to override God's purpose for me.
Yeah.
And so I can lean into that. And then it was two things. I forgot the other one. But it's the deep understanding of purpose. But really it's the idea of you really can move on from bitterness or betrayal, or you can move in unforgiveness when you are not depending on the thing that you're walking away from to control the outcome of your life. And so it's like, I trust God for the outcome of my life, and I trust his purpose in me. And even in the times where it gets difficult, where people or situations come against it, to know that I have that sure foundation of, if it all comes back down to just me and God and my purpose, that really is enough to keep going in my life.
Yeah,
but you gotta have a relationship that's deep enough to really get there with God like that. And I think you do have to endure some things that test that. When my pastor would tell me, he was like, God is too wise to put the outcome of your life in the hands of another man.
Yeah, but it's also
the hands of another person, or at the end of the day, certain things God like assigns you as far as opportunities or jobs or things that can be very difficult. Certain things he allows that he may not have actually fully intended, but all things do work together for good to those who are the called according to his purpose, and that love God and called according to his purpose. And so if you can really get a baseline that supersedes all these different things, and even too, I'll say one thing specifically. You distracting me. What you doing? I'm sorry.
I kept trying to be on live and it kept.
Oh, I was like, what is that? I'm trying to get it back. Oh, but and I'll say like specifically like as a woman in the millennial age group, in that bridge generation we're talking about, you talk with other like women who are maybe like single and things like that, or maybe like or have different thoughts around relationship and family or career moves. That can be an interesting thing, when just like when it comes down to maybe timelines.
Mm-hmm.
But then once I was also like, what? No matter what happens in these other areas, no matter what happens in relationships and family and jobs and anything, I know that God told me to do this. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to delay doing this, waiting for something that, like, at the end of the day, that's all this is in God's timing.
Yeah.
And certain, like, even like, for example, people will still ask me, do I want to have another baby? You know what? I don't know. And at the end of the day, it's not fully up to me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's up to God's decision.
Yeah.
And so from there, it's just like, if I'm waiting for that moment or that decision to be final or whatever, and also I know that God told me to write a book, well then, why are you delaying doing the thing he told you to do? Like, so no matter what happens with me as far as children, no matter what happens with me in relationships, no matter what jobs come or go, no matter what churches open or close, no matter what.
Yeah.
God still told me to do this.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes when you walk with God long enough and you see people and situations and opportunities come and go and you see what has lasted, it's going to always reveal God and the perfection of his purpose. And so you can kind of release those things in a easier way once you start to walk with God like that. That's been my experience.
And
what
like,
you got?
No, I mean, my big thing, I just like the whole thing is I don't want anybody, me myself first, to be bitter. You know what I'm saying? And it's like there's no like, what's the point of having like, and I think the root of it is we like truth be told, you care more about what people think about you than God sometimes, and that could, you know what I'm saying? And that could
Willie, go back. Go back and tell the people what you just said.
I mean, I think that's the
what
root.
we do.
We care more about what people think of us than God.
Oh.
And God is a
not gonna let
genius.
that breathe?
I ain't gonna let it breathe. God is a genius, though.
Word to Willie G say, y'all need to stop caring.
I mean, but
about what people think more than you care about what God thinks.
Come on, let's go ahead and give.
All right, I needed to give that its due.
Give it its just due.
Yeah.
Give it its just. No, that's real. I learned that from personal experience, but and it's like sometimes we do it not knowing though. Sometimes we don't intend to replace God with people. You know what I'm saying? But somewhere down the line, you come. But then at the same time,
fancy word idolatry.
Yeah. Right. At the same time, I tell Kendra, like, you wasting time feeling any kind of way about somebody that God loves. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't care. Like, okay, that don't mean you gotta be buddy with everybody, but it's no need to hold like just stay angry at the person, because God gonna bless them. They gonna come up as long as they repent, get their mind right. God gonna bless them. They gonna come up, and you still gonna be mad at them. So it's like, I don't want anyone to like, because you can't really truly be free. You know what I'm saying? And be creative with a heart with being unforgiving, and it's easy to come by. Like, let's be real. Like, when you coming up, like, we got all kind of memes. You know what I'm saying? What's the little TikTok, the famous TikTok? Talk about how come you don't. Talk about all I needed was a like it. All I needed was a like and a share. You know what I'm saying? Or like why you don't share my stuff? Like, we got so many things, and you can tell people feel away. So like, how do you know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna hit you, and personally, I think that's the true test of character, Joseph. Save your brothers that threw you in jail. Like, you know what I'm saying? That had to say.
I'll tell you what helped me with that, and it's actually, I will say, this is it takes some maturity, some spiritual maturity.
Yeah, it do.
But at the moment when I had someone that I was, one of the times I was the angriest I've ever been in my life. Aimed at a particular person. Was it the nurse? No. I thought it was the nurse.
No,
it wasn't her.
Okay.
No. I didn't know long enough for her to rile that level of anger in me.
I got you.
But I felt every impulse of anger and hatred and malice and pettiness, and thank God social media wasn't what it was then. I felt it all and meant it. Yeah. All, but I was like, you know what? Let me pray. Thankfully, we weren't in close proximity to each other. But I prayed, and I was just so like raw in my emotions, and I was just like, God, whatever you got to say to me, nothing hurts more than what I'm going through. So just lay it all on me. I can take it. And I started to pray for that person, and to your point, Key, where it's like, I don't have the right to hold this level of malice or hatred or anything towards anybody that God loves. First of all.
But it ain't easy all the time.
It's not easy. But I'm telling you what happened for me. And I, again, this is spiritual maturity, and I really don't take it lightly, because I don't necessarily know. Like, God has to, certain things, when He starts to show you things and reveal things to you, I think it does speak to a level of trust that He has, and I don't take it lightly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But so I say that to say, when I started to pray for this person, God allowed me to see them for a moment through His eyes.
Yeah.
And even at the heart of the action they did towards me, it really very quickly turned from anger to pity almost, and a sadness of like, you know what? Okay, yes, this was horrible what they did to you. But the sad truth is, it really didn't have anything to do with you.
Yeah.
It was the fact that they're broken, they're unresolved, they're unhealed, and you got caught in the line of fire.
Mm-hmm.
And the devil would have liked to have you go down in those same flames, you know. And so pay attention to what this situation, what you've learned from it and how you're better from it, and still walk away. But also don't walk away with anger and malice and hatred. I want you to see this for what it is, so you really aren't forgiving just in speech.
Yeah.
You're not just saying, oh, I forgive. No, you really see this person did this to me, but also it really didn't have anything to do with me. It doesn't change anything that God got going on in my life. But also take a minute and look at the root cause.
Yeah.
And peel back the layers. And he really did give me a glimpse into issues that this person had to contend with long before they ever knew me.
Yeah.
And you know, if those things go and fester and grow and stay unresolved, you don't know. And I wasn't the first person that got hit by this person's, you know, pain. I wasn't I wasn't the first person hurt by this other hurt person.
Toxicity.
Toxicity. You know, and so that was it was a maturing thing for me, but it did help me with a level of trust that this still hurts, but God got me.
Yeah.
And I remember I put a post on Facebook. I said, you know what? And I meant that thing, and I still mean it now. God loves you more than anybody could ever hurt you.
Yeah.
And once you can kind of really believe that, it's easier. Not saying that the hurt doesn't hurt, but it doesn't hurt as deep or as long.
Yeah.
God loves me more than anybody could ever hurt me. So
yeah, that's real. I mean, that's real. I mean, that's called empathy. To be able to, I mean, at that moment, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's levels. That's why everybody can't be. That's why I have never desired to be a preacher. You know what I'm saying? If God want me to preach, then he'll tell me. You know what I'm saying? And I honor those who do. You know what I'm saying? Because
he might tell you
I'm not signing
up. It up on me.
Listen, but
I was like, really?
But it's like,
all right, give me the mic. Don't get it in my vernacular.
In order to lead people, you have to be able to have empathy in order to see certain situations from their perspective. Yeah. Any good leader, you know what I'm saying? Even outside of ministry. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to deal with attitudes and bad days, and you got to be able to deal with things that don't necessarily concern you, but your job is to keep this ship moving smooth.
Maybe a lot of these leaders need to come work in retail. You'll see a lot. The things we see and the things we have to manage, and on the dime, just real quick. I'm sorry.
And it's just like, it ain't worth the weight. You know what I'm saying? It ain't worth the weight of bitterness. It ain't worth the weight of walking around.
The heaviness of it. Gotcha, okay.
It ain't worth the weight. Like letting that bother you, letting that shake you, letting that slow down your purpose. It's not worth the weight.
It's not worth that weight, and it's not, more specifically, it's not worth what it does to you.
Yeah.
Like this person that you now hold all these negative feelings for, they still got that much power to literally at your core change who you are.
And that's too much power.
And it really is. And I had to resolve with them myself. You know, after a relationship I left years ago, I was like, you know what? I like certain things about myself, and this person didn't know how to appreciate them, but I like that I'm generous. Yeah. I like that I'm loving. I like that I come through for people. Yeah. I like that I can be dependent on. I like that I can prioritize you if that's what the situation demands. And you didn't appreciate it and you didn't reciprocate it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to stop being that because I like that about myself. And how dare you have that power to make me change something that I truly like about myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go before I let her go.
Yeah.
And stay with you.
I see the bar. But I mean, that's good. Because how many people you see don't, I mean, you see naturally giving people turn, you know what I'm saying, turn the exact opposite. Because they've been hurt, somebody came through, didn't appreciate it, and then they went flip flop.
I have left jobs for that reason. I was like, you know, I see what it takes to be successful here. I could do it, but I don't like who I would have to become to measure this company's standard of success. I'm just gonna leave.
I'm in the era right now of boundaries.
Amen.
It's boundaries. Like I'm protecting my peace.
You gotta have boundaries.
I cannot call you. I love you so much, but I cannot call you because I had to. When I say boundaries, and maybe we were just talking about this, but don't let the boundaries become a wall. But
Yes.
Don't let the boundaries come a wall.
I get that.
You
but
still gotta keep your gates and doorways. You still gotta have your doorways and your keyholes and your windows.
Because a lot of times when that happens and you are unappreciated for who you are, you put up what we call boundaries, but they're really walls and nobody can get in. So I mean, we can keep going. We at the tail end of this thing right now. We had the last 5 minutes.
6 minutes, 8 o'clock.
Or 6 minutes.
What you got?
You guys, I mean, that's pretty much the bulk of it. Like, it's gonna come. Opposition gonna come. They says you're gonna be doing things that people are just not gonna understand because this is where character is tested, and this is where you get to know your God for you, and not through a third person party.
That's all. You
better
can part
stop.
two. You
You
can
better
part
stop.
two. You better
You
part
better
two.
stop right now.
You better part two.
You better
This
stop
thing.
right now.
Cause some,
You
some,
better part two
well,
this
that's
thing.
a part two. We're gonna part two. We got 5 minutes, but for the last, I'm gonna do my little 2 minutes. I give you 2 minutes, but that's basically it. Like you get to because we have to know God for ourselves at the end of the day, and that that don't negate anything. But at the end of the day, some people only know God through a third party, and that's never how it's supposed to be. The third party is they introduce you. Hey, they teach you principles. They help you grow. You know what I'm saying? But it's like a lot of people is put like I feel sorry for some pastors because a lot of people putting too much weight. Like it's not their job. It's not their job to help them.
I almost said something. I have to keep it in.
It's not the pastor's job to help you grow in your relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like some people depending on the pastor's job for too much.
They do.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's tough.
Yeah.
And
because the pastoral heart is gonna always be turned towards the people.
Yeah.
And so it's so important for those leaders to have people around them that sometimes, and y'all feel what I mean when I say this, they aren't as nice as they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To be able to keep them and protect their heart and be like, you know what, nah, he's not available right now. You know, like for real. You do. You know, but you do. Listen, you write a whole book. You know? But you do need people around you that can help hold your boundary lines. Yeah. That's really it. Like, you know, and so like some certain things, like if you see it, you'll fix it. If you see it, you'll take the call. If you see it, but sometimes you just need somebody like, you know what, you don't, this ain't time for you. No, we got it. We can run interference for you. I can feel all the time, I was like, who need to run interference for today for pastor?
Yeah,
you gotta get through me first.
For real, man. Like you gotta we're gonna go ahead and cut this off. Any final remarks? Any last comments? I guess we'll do a part two.
We're going to do a part two, but I'm going to say that I think it is extremely important that we engage in the voting process, our civic duty.
Please.
We are in Georgia, and it's
looking crazy.
It's a little interesting down here.
Who voted for Herschel? I want to know who voted for. Oh, okay. Is it true? Okay.
So here's my thing. Here's my plea around voting. I think you should research the candidates as individuals as you make your decisions. And I also think that after you've studied the individual candidates, then study and look into the machine behind the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and look at, you know, because I feel like
just follow the money.
I feel like even really heavily in one of the Georgia races, I feel like on the ticket it's almost like a man versus who was part of a party versus an actual party. The other man is just a face and a pawn, you know, and a very strategic face and a very strategic pawn to really change the narrative around certain issues. So certain talking points aren't as prevalent and I'll just go out, I'm talking around it, but like, for example, the Senate race in Georgia, I think that is extremely strategic for the Republican Party to put all of the support around a candidate who has really demonstrated a level of incompetence that compared to the severity of the office that he's running for. but also it was so strategic that you get a black man to go against another black man so that we aren't having race dominate the conversation like we've had in the past several elections. Like, you know what, how do we get them to stop? Because that's a heavy card to play. The race card, the people of color card, all of this stuff, the diversity card is hard to play. And so now it's like, well, what blackface can we get to take, so at least the conversation and narrative, at least we're not leading, having to talk about how we're not racist. Look at this black man we got to lead us. But it really, in my opinion, from my point of view, and this is just mine, it looks more racist than just getting just an old white man up there. And especially with that Lindsey Graham cosign.
So yeah,
so that is these are the opinions of Audrey Aaron alone.
You think it's a ploy for an agenda being pushed?
I mean, I think absolutely. But I think some of the strategies of like, hey, you know, because these people, like, based on what we can see, based on what we've seen in debates, based on what we've seen in interviews, and not saying that you can take everything in media at face value, but based on things that Walker has said in his own books. Yeah. What sense does it make to say, hey, this is the man that we can get behind? Like, I don't think that they chose a leader. I think they chose someone who they could lead.
Yeah. Yes. That's politics. I mean, but that's what it looks like.
And I feel like it's an insult to so many people. Oh. But also, in a sad but equal truth, it is representation of a lot of very real mindsets. Yeah. In Georgia and throughout the country.
It definitely is.
So I say all that to say,
8:00.
Vote.
Okay.
You know, we're in early voting right now.
Go vote. Definitely vote.
And then the election day is November 8th.
Voted out, remember?
Definitely vote. Yeah, P. Diddy, vote,
yeah, no, it's really important. And I do, as circus-like as American politics have been over the last couple of years, for a long time, I personally took issue with the message when it was just like vote, 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 vote. And I felt like it was a lack of voter education and political education around the message to just go vote. I do really appreciate, though it has, again, been very circus-like, I really do appreciate the spotlight, good, bad, ugly. Maybe this is what American politics has been the whole time, and we finally got some cameras and some things to pull the curtains back. But if it's what it takes to get more of the people that our elected officials are supposed to be leading to really see and make some more informed decisions at the polls, then I think it may, on some level, have been a necessary evil to see some of the level of just disturbing, just rhetoric and behavior in American politics in the past couple of years. But if it makes the everyday voter informed where they used to be uninformed, or if it brings people to come out and at least vote and be aware, just even the hype around midterm elections, that wasn't a thing a decade ago, not in this way.
That's true.
You know, and so if we're becoming more educated about the democracy that we live in and the nation that we live in, I think that particular thing is a good thing.
Definitely got to educate yourself. Educate yourself. Read, man. Like, understand what's really going on. Don't just vote for popularity. I agree. But
those are my final thoughts.
Okay.
Because we're right in the height of the midterm election season. And Georgia, here's the thing that has been interesting to watch over time. In recent years, Georgia's never really been a swing state like that. You know, we had a blue blip with Clinton, but the fact that Georgia is like really legit purple and it's getting a lot of some of that swing state attention. That's an interesting thing.
Georgia's definitely one of the states they want to win for sure.
That really affects the whole nation.
It do. Yeah, Georgia is a big one. Because last year that was crazy. I mean, last voting term, it was crazy when Georgia went blue. That was crazy. But okay, so that's all I got. That's it, folks. We're gonna do a part 2 of this.
Yes.
WWJD.
What was the last thing you were gonna talk about?
As far as people caring about
what people,
think more they care about what God thinks.
We left off at.
We can go back and watch it. We'll get it.
We definitely get it. All right, well, this is No Labels Podcast, people. I'm your host, Willie G. We got Miss Audrey in the building.
All right, y'all.
And the Queen, and we are out of here.
We out.
Love y'all.
All right, y'all. Thanks for rocking with us. Facebook.